earlier, I made a video about sowing and reaping, as the secular word calls it, karma. So this is the second half to this, or this video sort of goes hand in hand with that particular video. This one has to do with the consequences of us doing things we should not do. When we behave in ways that are not godly, when we do things that we should not, when we do the things that, like I discussed in the other video, try to trick people, try to take their jobs, we do all these things, promote ourselves, we throw other people under the bus just because it's convenient for us, or just so we can have our own way, we don't realize that our behavior doesn't just affect us, but it affects our family members also. Wow. So that means if I'm doing something wrong, not only will God get me, but God is going to get my children. He tells us in Exodus chapter 20, verses 5 through 7, that he's a jealous God. He said he visits the iniquities of the fathers on the sons of the children, down to the third and fourth generation. Wow, can you believe it? Not only is he going to punish you, and not only is he going to punish your children, he's going to punish your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren. No one wants to put a curse on their lineage. Nobody wants to do that. Well, if you do, you shouldn't. We have to be very, very careful that we are not leaving our grandchildren or children with a legacy of shame, with a legacy of punishment, of despair. You know, it says that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children. We don't want our inheritance to be something bad. We don't want to have generational curses placed on our family, on our lineage, because we are doing things that are not pleasing to God. God told us to be careful what we do. You know, again, he tells us that he's not marked. Whatsoever a man soweth, yet shall he reap. And when we look at the story of Daniel, when we go back to the people who tried to trick Daniel because they became jealous of him, because they wanted to set him up with the king, Daniel got in trouble because he was praying to God 3 times a day. What they did was they set a plot for Daniel. Daniel was thrown into the lion's den. But we know what happened. God rescued him. He closed the mouth of the lions, and Daniel spent the night with the lions, and he came out perfectly fine. But what happened to those people who had plotted and planned against Daniel? They ended up being thrown into the lion den. And not just them, but their entire families. We cannot take for granted that God is just going to forgive us, and he may, but he will punish us, and not just us, but again, he will even punish our children and grandchildren. We don't want to do that. We don't want to leave that kind of legacy on them. We look at Numbers, chapter 14, verses 18. It says, the Lord is slow to anger, abiding in love and forgiving sins and rebellion. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children of the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation. We're reminded of that. God is not playing with us. He does not want us doing things that are against his will. He wants us to follow his instructions. We don't want our family thrown to the lions or thrown to some type of destruction. Can you imagine how those people felt? You know, they had did all this plot, planning, and tricking, and instead they end up thrown to the lions. They knew exactly what was going to happen. And not just them, but here are their wives and their children. Poor innocent children who are being thrown to their deaths, who are being eaten alive because their parent decided to rebel against God, decided to rebel against the man of God. We have to be careful what we do. God is not pleased with bad behavior. So let us not give him bad behavior. Instead, let us show people mercy. Let us show people love. Things is not going the way we want. Okay, tell God about it. It's Psalms 23. You know, God has promised to prepare a table before us in the presence of our enemies. We want God to prepare that table. We want to be sitting around the table. We want to be the ones that we don't want to be the person that's considered the enemy. We want to be at the table, enjoying the benefits of serving God. And if we're going to be then we are not going to be doing things that will hurt another person. And we're going to be the ones that are sitting around the table. And we're going to be the ones who are getting the blessings of God. Then we're going to have to act like the children of God. I began this video earlier. Things have started to change, if you ever noticed. but the message is still the same. We want to be doing the things that are pleasing to God. We don't want to be doing things that are inappropriate, because we are going to reap what we sow, whether we want to reap it or not. So let's make sure we're reaping good things and not reaping the whirlwind, and we're not considered in it. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been a wonderful 2 Cute Life Lessons. Hey guys, please don't hesitate to subscribe, to give this video a like, a thumbs up, and spend more time with me as I continue to give you more spiritual truths. I'll see you guys.